Hello, I'm Dr. Robin Ganser, and welcome to American Humane in Action. As an animal lover, you may already know that American Humane is this country's very first national humane organization and has been fighting for the humane treatment of all animals since way back in 1877. Today, we are proud to say that we save, shelter, feed, and protect nearly 1 billion animals around the world. Those in our homes, those who are caught in war, natural disasters, and cruelty cases, the animal actors we so love in movies and television, endangered species in zoos and aquariums, and hundreds of millions of animals living on farms and ranches. At American Humane, our mission is to help animals whenever and wherever they are in need. Why? Because we love them, and I know you do too. On this episode of American Humane in Action, we are going to roll up our sleeves and explore our farm program, which certifies that animals living on farms and ranches are treated humanely. We'll talk to leading experts and find out just how critical it is that we know farm animals are treated well, and why it's important to look for the American Humane Certified label on food packages. Did you know there are 10 billion animals raised on farms and ranches every year in this country alone? While we now have an amazingly productive, safe, and affordable food supply that's in many ways the envy of the world, the production advances that led to this model were not always designed with the animals' welfare in mind. That's where American Humane stepped in to make a difference. In fact, American Humane created the first, largest, and now most trusted certification program to help ensure the welfare of farm animals. Our American Humane Certified program oversees the care of nearly 1 billion chickens, cows, pigs, goats, ducks, and other animals, helping ensure that they have adequate space, good food, clean water, proper heating and lighting, and most important, the ability to live without fear or pain, and to be able to move about freely and express their natural behaviors. Letting animals be animals. We are proud to say some 90% of all cage-free eggs in the United States carry our certified label, which means millions of chickens are free from tiny, inhumane battery cages. It's a huge victory. And you can rest assured that our free-range certification means chickens are given 10 times greater space than those of other certifications. While this is great progress, roughly 90% of U.S. farm animals are still raised without independently verified, science-based standards. That's how large the space is and how much work still needs to be done. To give us a first-hand look at American Humane Certified and what it means for those who work on farms and ranches, I'm pleased to welcome our first guest, Mel Coleman. Mel is the 5th generation of his family to work with Coleman Natural Foods, a company that puts a big emphasis on animal welfare. Mel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Robin. It's great to be here. I appreciate having me.
I'm thrilled to have you. And, you know, we're going to start out asking you a little bit about Coleman Natural Foods. Can you share with a little bit about your company and your operation?
Sure. We're basically a company that does pork and beef. What we do is that I'll give just a little bit of history, but I'm a 5th generation, as you had said. We started in 1875, actually a year before Colorado was a state. And selling beef to some of the miners and some of the loggers in different places in the high mountains of Colorado. But as time went on, what we did is that we sold our cattle based on the commodity markets. And in the late 70s, interest rates were through the roof. And cattle market was very low. And the banker was pounding at the door. And so one night at the dinner table, my dad was saying, I don't know what we're going to do. And my sister-in-law said, you know, my sister-in-law and brother were going to the University of Colorado. And she said, up in Boulder, some of the kids and some of the residents there are looking for meats that have been raised with no antibiotics or growth hormones. So Dad said, that's great, I can do that. Where do you shop? And she said, I'll shop at a natural food store. And interestingly, he said, well, I'll call it natural beef. No big marketing studies, none of this kind of stuff. We'll call it natural beef. So the process began that what we needed to do is put together some standards. And that was way back in the late 70s and early 80s. Put together some standards. They had to be verified. And then what they needed to basically be is certified. And so the original first label with the USDA for the term natural had to do strictly with the way livestock was raised. About 6 months to a year later, the USDA changed that definition to mean minimally processed and no artificial ingredients, which has nothing to do with the livestock. Right. It has to just do with the meat. And so that's kind of how it started. Today what we're doing is that we're primarily selling to consumers through food service and also retail stores. And we try to brand it because consumers are looking for brands that stand for something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And your brand, Mel, has always stood for high animal welfare standards. Can you tell us a little bit about your commitment to animal welfare?
Sure. You know, it was really something that I was raised with. You know, my grandfather and dad, when we were little kids from the very beginning, talked about the fact that we needed to not only steward the land and water resources so that a ranch could be handed on to the next generation, but the other thing that we needed to do is that we needed to pay attention to animals and understand animals and treat them correctly. And whether it started with horses or cows or whatever we had. But I can remember one time I was trying to move some cattle through a corral and it just wasn't working right. And my dad said, you need to think like the cow. In other words, look at things from the perspective of the animal and what you're trying to do. And they were less stressful. And so there were a whole lot of things that we did, but it was just that fundamental respect for livestock and animals.
Do consumers care about the word humane?
They do, and they do a lot. I mean, in studies that we've done, I mean, there was a time where the big deal was antibiotics, and it's still a critical issue. But I think that what's happened is that the way people care about animals and the term humane care is important with consumers today.
Mel, thank you so much for joining us today. We've learned so much about how you raise animals humanely, and we're very grateful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
After the break, we'll talk with a very dynamic personality who believes humane farming is good for everyone. We'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Lance Bass, and this is Chip. For more than 100 years, American Humane has been on the front lines protecting animals in times of crisis. From Pearl Harbor to 9/11, the California wildfires, and the coronavirus pandemic, American Humane Rescue has provided life-saving assistance for animals in virtually every major national disaster. If you're anything like me, your pets mean the world to you. And if disaster strikes, you want to keep them safe. To prepare for an oncoming disaster, ensure your pet has secure and up-to-date identification. And if you must evacuate, remember to take your disaster preparedness kit with you. To learn more about disaster planning and how to keep your best friends safe, please visit AmericanHumane.org.
When our brave servicemen and women return home, they often carry with them the invisible wounds of war. Professionally trained service dogs can help, but they cost upwards of $30,000, and waiting lists are long. American Humane provides free life-saving service dogs to deserving warriors, but we need your support. Please don't leave our veterans behind. Visit AmericanHumane.org to help now.
Hi, I'm Ice-T. As a veteran, I know that for many former servicemen and women, the battle doesn't always end when they come home. Every day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and sadly, 20 take their own lives. When nothing else helps, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane, serving the U.S. military for over 100 years, rescues animals in need of forever homes and trains them to become free, life-saving service dogs for our nation's veterans. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots program. Let's give our veterans a fighting chance.
Welcome back to American Humane in Action. Our focus today is our farm program. As American Humane works to continually raise the bar for humane standards on farms and ranches, it's important to work alongside farmers who can make a difference for a large number of animals. I'm so excited to welcome a guest whose company has been involved with the American Humane Certified program since it was started more than 20 years ago. Gus Arundel, president of Springer Mountain Farms, is all about results, working to ensure that animals raised in his care are raised with solid, science-based standards for a humane life. Gus, thank you so much for joining us today.
Robin, I am so glad to be here. And like you said, I guess this point right here has been 20 years in the making.
20 years, can you imagine?
No, time flies. It is really hard to believe the very first time, when we wanted to come out with our Springer Mountain Farms chicken. And back then you had a lot of people, that was back in the late 90s, I guess it would be. A lot of people said, my chicken's the best, my chicken's the best, my chicken's the best, when they were all just about the same. I mean, it really was. Chicken's a chicken's a chicken. And so I wanted to come out with something that was better than anything else on the market, than anything there was. Well, how could I do that? I got to be different. Yeah. And how could I do that to be different is the first thing we came up with, said, well, all the chickens and the farm animals and everybody, they're shooting them full of antibiotics, steroids, stuff like that, growth promoting. And to be different, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be artificial. We want to be, it's a real overused phrase, I guess, but be all natural. Yeah. And so we went to the American Humane Association. Y'all did not have a say, poultry program at the time. We asked you to put one together for us, and you did. So that kind of gave me my three legs of my stool. I've got American Humane Association. I've got no antibiotics, and just the growing way that we do it with y'all's help. Have y'all made us a better chicken company? I feel like you have.
Well, Gus, thank you so much. This has been terrific to hear from you on this. I want to just step back for a minute because you talked about what you were looking for in your three-legged stool when you were creating your chicken brand, which is amazing. And one of that was the leg about being American Humane independently certified. And you talked a lot about needing that science to determine what it is to be humane versus those other institutions that choose to base it on something other than science and evidence.
That's what I mean, like hearsay or whatever makes me feel good. Such as, I'll just bring up one little thing. There's a lot of talk about lighting in chicken houses, in pig raising pens, stuff like that. Well, they say, oh, they want more light. Well, any animal, go out and look out in the fields and stuff. When the sun's out bright and stuff like that, they head for the trees. They're not necessarily like all that sunlight. They go and they want to get some shade. So I think just fallacies like that. And one thing I do know that is great, if you're certified by the American Humane Association, the chicken, the pig, the cow, whatever it may be, it gets more room. And what we have found out, if you've got more room, if the chicken, the pig, the cow, whatever's got more room, then they're happier, they are less stressed out, and if you've got a less stressed out animal, chicken, whatever it may be, you're going to have a better tasting piece of meat.
Absolutely.
You
talk
are. Now,
about
that's a fact.
Letting animals be animals.
That's correct.
And
yes,
I love that. And that's exactly what we've done. And there's science and evidence-based practices that absolutely justify and serve as the very foundation for our American Humane Certification program, of which you've been the founding member. You know, you are a true leader in animal ag. You're a true leader in poultry, and you've set the standard for so many, and you're visionary. Talk to me a little bit about your parents and grandparents, of how this vision of taking good care of animals is really part of their legacy to you.
It is. It wasn't anything. The taking care of your animals is not anything that we switched to or anything that we did different. We have always at Springer Mountain Farms tried to do the best we can. What was instilled to me by my father, bless his heart, he's been gone about 18 years now, but all I've ever done is be in the chicken business. All I've ever done all my life, never had another job. And all that he instilled in me necessarily was you want to put out the best quality product that you can put out. To get that best quality product, you've got to be good to the chickens or good to the cows or good to the pigs, whatever it is. And that just always went along with it. I never did think about anything else except being the best to the chickens that we ever could.
Absolutely, I believe in that too. One final question. We've all had animals touch us in our lives in amazing ways. Can you tell us any memory of a special animal in your life?
Oh, many. I'll get teared up. I don't have a dog anymore, and the reason why I don't is because I love my dog so much. And after my dog passed, if anybody said my dog's name for a month after he passed away, I'd bust out crying. It was awful. So yeah, I like dogs and cats for pets. They're great. A lot of company. It's so nice to come home and have something look at you in the eye when you get home too.
It's beautiful. That's unconditional love, isn't it?
Yes, yes. And I would like to say this. I was lucky enough years ago to go out to the Hero Dog Award in California, and boy, what a thing that was. I had the best time, and seeing all the people and what concern there was for dogs and cats and animals in general. It was a great experience that I really liked it, and maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to go again.
Well, I'll never forget it. That was a night we were able to honor you with our National Humanitarian.
That is correct, and that is
so innovative.
Definitely one of the biggest honors I ever got.
Oh, well, Gus, thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to take a look at how the country's biggest humane effort works for farm animals and what the future holds for doing even more. We'll be right back.
Springer Mountain Farms is a family business, and when we say family, it means more than just the owners of the company. These family farmers aren't just loyal, they believe in the way we do things, the right way. That means controlling every step of the process, from hatching our own chicks, raising them in stress-reducing American Humane Certified environments, and processing them in our own USDA-supervised facilities. All of our farmers choose to work harder, meet higher quality standards, and provide a level of care that's above acceptable industry practices. If you ask our farmers why they go the extra mile, they'll tell you it's just the right thing to do, to provide a better quality of life for the animals and a better quality product to our customers. There's no doubt about it. Better care means better taste. To learn more or find a retailer nearest you, visit us online at springermtn.com.
For 140 years, American Humane has been working to make our world a better and kinder place for animals, veterans, and others in greatest need. You can help by making a gift through your will or charitable annuity that helps build a more compassionate future for both animals and people. Make kindness your legacy. Visit AmericanHumane.org to learn about how you can help ensure a better, more caring world for all of us.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack Hanna. Since I was a boy, I've been fascinated with animals, especially their tireless work ethic. This work ethic is shared by our best friends, canines who perform life-saving work every day. So please join me and American Humane in supporting our heroic working dogs. Go to AmericanHumane.org to learn more.
There are over 9 billion animals raised on farms and ranches across the country each year. For far too long, those animals were not afforded protections to ensure their humane treatment and care. Luckily, times have changed, and more farmers are raising their animals in accordance with American Humane's ethical and science-based standards. American Humane is this country's first national humane organization and is committed to working with farmers to offer ethically driven consumers humanely raised products. The next time you're in the grocery store, be sure to choose products that are American Humane Certified. The purchasing decisions you make each week can positively impact the lives of billions of animals on our nation's farms and ranches. Live better, live healthy, be humane. To learn more, visit AmericanHumane.org. Welcome back to American Humane in Action. I'm very happy to be joined by Haley Grimes, the Director of Operations for the American Humane Certified program, which oversees the humane treatment of nearly 1 billion farm animals every year. It's a big job. Haley, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here today.
Oh, Haley, we're glad to have you. You know, I'd love for you to share with us today a little bit about what it takes to be American Humane Certified.
Sure. So our program, our American Humane Certified program for farms, has been around for over 20 years. So we got our start in 2000, and we're celebrating our 21st year in farm animal certification for animal welfare, which is really exciting and just a monumental accomplishment for American Humane and our farm team alike. Our program is developed to cover a variety of species and types of animals, and we also cover many different farms and ranches, so different sizes, different types. We believe that animal welfare can be achieved on different farms and ranches as long as there's really a dedication to animal welfare and a focus on the training that goes along with it. You know, the other big key to it is that our standards were developed in consultation with a scientific advisory committee filled with experts in the industry, animal welfare experts, veterinarians, practitioners, and ethicists. So they're very helpful in helping us direct our standards and create standards as well, and making sure that we're staying up to date with research and science as it becomes available.
People ask me, what does independent verification mean? And at the core of it is an audit that the science advisors help to develop for American Humane to test each farm and ranch and whether or not they're meeting good or excellent animal welfare standards. Can you share with us, what does an American Humane Certified audit look like?
Right. So our auditing program is third-party auditing, which means that the American Humane staff does not go on farm to complete the audits. Rather, we work with independent auditing companies to complete the audits on farm. And these auditing companies have amazing auditors that have a wealth of experience in different species and types of animals, and again, different farms and ranches. So it's really wonderful to have somebody that's so knowledgeable to be on farm to assess based upon our science-based standards. Yeah. You know, we work with producers, or we work with farmers and ranchers to make sure that, you know, they're continuing their commitment to animal welfare under our program. And our farm team, we have an amazing farm team, works through that process and scheduling audits and working and reaching out with the auditing companies for the completion of those audits on farms and ranches.
You know, we both know American Humane Certified is really looking for new paths to expand the frontier for protection of animals. What would you say is one of our new paths to move forward on?
Absolutely. So, you know, the growing interest from the public has really encouraged farmers and ranchers to reach out to us to come on farm for audits, which has been amazing. And, you know, just listening to Gus and Mel talk about their own commitments to animal welfare, it's very evident that the connection between the farmer and the animal runs deep. As I mentioned, we've been around in the farm animal certification space for 20 years, but it began even before that, when we were originally founded in 1877, when we were working hand in hand with the 28-hour transportation law. So, you know, helping animals at that point in time with transport across the country via railway. And then we continued on with that with the start of our program in 2000. And, you know, we were at the forefront whenever the egg-laying industry was moving to cage-free eggs. American Humane was there to help establish standards for those animals and those new systems. So it was a brand new, you know, type of raising laying hens and eggs, which was new to a lot of the community and the industry alike. And it was wonderful for American Humane to be the voice of what is truly scientific based and what's a good way to evaluate those systems. And we continue to add standards to this day.
I wanted to ask you about one of the standards. As we look at the next 5 and 10 years moving forward, what other areas will American Humane span to?
So we see that the biggest growth is really going to be in aquaculture. which is very exciting.
Tell us what aquaculture is. I
Sure.
loved it.
So aquaculture is the raising of fish and other animals for food production. So, you know, with its vast nature and how much it encompasses the whole international food supply, it's a really important and critical component to most people's diets and the nutrition for people across the world. And it was just a natural thing for American Humane to want to move into that space. So we are very excited that we've announced that we're moving into the aquaculture space with our first tool, which is for trout and salmon, two of the most common fish produced in the world today.
I would love to go to the grocery store and see American Humane Certified salmon.
Absolutely. That would be amazing.
Yes, and all of us are adding more fish to the diet, so I think this is really terrific. Haley, thank you so very much for being here today. I'm so encouraged by all that you're doing for the animals, and I just adore this American Humane Certified program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, thank you. Knowing where food comes from and how it is raised is so necessary and critical for humane reasons. And we wanted to empower people to take charge and get involved personally to make a better, healthier, and more humane world for animals and ourselves. Which is why we are so excited to release the Humane Table Cookbook. I love cooking, and I think the Humane Table Cookbook is going to be a great addition for home chefs making the change to a holistic, humane relationship with food. People are cooking and eating at home now more than ever. You know, in the wake of the pandemic, 85% of Americans say they have changed the way they prepare and eat food. More and more home chefs are concerned, not just with their recipes, they're concerned with how their shopping and cooking habits affect the world around them. After all, farms and ranches are not detached from the world we live in. They're part of it. The Humane Table Cookbook will soon be available wherever books are sold. I hope people will look through the recipes and start making humane shopping and cooking decisions on a daily basis. We can all play a part in improving the way animals live by supporting American Humane Certified farms and ranches, making humane choices at the supermarket, and setting a humane table year-round. We can do it. We just need to know how. If you were inspired by the show, join us and the Compassion Movement by supporting American Humane in its work to save, shelter, feed, and protect animals. And please visit AmericanHumane.org and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so we can keep you up to date on the latest news about the beautiful animals who share our world. I'm Dr. Robin Ganzert. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll tune in to all of our episodes of American Humane in Action for an inside look at the innovative efforts that are building a better, more humane world for all of us.